Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at the ETK I Series, which is the new car that was added in the 0.6.0 update. As you can see, there are quite a few different cars we could choose from here, but there's a lot of duplication in the car list. For example, on the 2400, we have the 2400 in automatic, then we have it in manual, then we have the facelifted 2400 in automatic, and then we have that in manual as well. So it's basically four cars that all perform near identically, and it's the same story for the 2400i, the 2400iX, the 3000i, and the 3000iX. When we're moving down the car list, though, eventually we have a little bit less duplication here. So right here we have two 2400 Ti TT Sports, then we have two 2400 TIX TT Sports, and the difference between these is just whether or not it's facelifted or not. And then we have the Custom, which is totally unique. Then we have these two, which are almost the same, but one has all-wheel drive. And then these two on the bottom are unique. So lots of duplication. We're going to just start off with the 2400. We're going to get the facelifted one in automatic. And then we'll take this thing up the hill over on our right. And this car is nothing special at all in terms of performance. It has a 2.4 liter engine, hence the name 2400. And it has a very basic suspension setup that's tuned for like a little bit of luxurious comfort, and then also economy as well. And we're actually losing speed going up this hill. This hill is so steep we can barely maintain speed. I think we lost just a tiny bit for a small section of that hill, so that gives you an idea how fast it is. Not that fast at all. Anyhow, though, we will keep driving through this for a little bit before we chuck it off the cliff, and that will be when I become totally sick of driving it, because it's not exactly a pleasant car to drive. Because I like cars that handle good, not ones that do this when you go around the corner. It's like, oh, it made it around the corner. Yay. It's not fun, man. It's not a fun car to drive. It's a very, very boring car to drive. But if you want a fun car, there are fun versions, which we'll be looking at later on. And oh, I just hit my bumper. This car is ruined now. Absolutely ruined. Look, it won't even churn. Just because I took my hand off the steering wheel, it's not churning now. Guess it has to fly off a cliff. There's your first look at some damage. You see pretty good amount of roof damage, but the passenger's compartment held up pretty well, so if there was somebody in there, they wouldn't have been crushed probably, even though the door did bend a decent amount onto the front. Looks like what you would expected from that impact, so we'll go ahead and pull it back all the way up, and then we're going to look at the next version of the ETK, which is the 2400i, which we'll be comparing to the 2400 we just drove. Now, I didn't let you guys get a good look at the outside yet, so I'm going to do a quick pan of that, and then we'll also take a look at the inside. Then I'll tell you what the comparisons are, because at the start, I was focusing on performance instead of visuals, so I'm going to make sure you guys get a good look at all the visuals. I love the cloth seats that look like that. Like, those are classic looking. I don't think everybody likes them. It's either one of those things where you probably love it or hate it. Fortunately for me, I love that look. Anyways, gauges right there. Gauges light up in red. High beams go on. High beams go off. Parking brake right there. Goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Okay, we're done here. Let's get out of there. Back to orbit cam. So compared to the 2400, this one has a front lip added. It has chrome trim around it, where the other one didn't have the chrome trim. It has the regular 2.4 liter engine that's not detuned like the one we were just driving. And then it also has some letters on the back that say 2400i instead of just 2400. And also on the front, the way the blinkers are set up is slightly different. So you can see blinker, blink, 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 all the blinkers. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to driving this. So in terms of performance, basically identical, aside from the fact it's a little bit faster in a straight line. And it could actually almost drift right there, apparently. I truthfully did not see that coming at all. It just decided to start sliding on me. And I'm more used to this thing going into understeer, not oversteer. So that was very unexpected. Slam on these brakes, go slow through this corner because it's a tight corner. And then power. And we're going to just crash into a tree like so, which should give us a drivable car that's just going to go crooked. So you can see some rear damage right there. Seems pretty reasonable, so we'll just keep on going. If we can put enough power down. There we go for crash 2. Light damage on the front. Looks reasonable once again, so we'll keep on going. I know it didn't look like we were going that fast, but we were actually going like 20 miles per hour when we hit that tree. Go for another impact. Whoops, there's no trees there. Hold off on that. There are some trees. Hit it. Kind of hard to drive this thing because it's just driving so crooked. We're getting those hits like I wanted. So here we go. Another hit. It's right into the front. Real light. Got some radiator damage. And take a look at it. Not much different than before. A little bit more pop on the hood and such. Another front hit. And a little bit more damage. But overall, all these hits, damage looks very reasonable. No issues to speak of. So now let's go ahead and do a big hit, finish this car off, and take a look at the next one. If we can get it up to speed, that is. Easier said than done. 40's a pretty good hit. Somehow still drives though, so we'll keep going. And actually it doesn't look that much more damage than before, although, hey, it's stuck in a bush. I'll take that as the end. So we'll bring it back a bit and take a look at the next one, which is the 2400iX. And comparing this to the 2400i that we were just driving, it is basically the same car with the addition of a front transfer case, so it's all-wheel drive. And then it has different tires, so it has tires that are actually a little bit more grippy. And then we have the 24iX lettering on it, and that's it. Otherwise, it's identical. And I thought I could clear that. Apparently, I can't. So we're just going to tap the wall just a little bit, and then we'll get going. So hard hit into the rear. Or not. Somehow we're going to just touch the bushes, and they will do absolutely no damage. That looks so wrong. It looked like it was going to hit, and then the bushes just kind of said, it's okay, I'm a pillow. You won't get damaged on me. Try again. Again, the bushes just, don't worry, I'm a pillow. Yeah, you're going at this at like 80 miles per hour almost, but we're going to just make it nice and soft. I say 80 miles per hour almost because I really wasn't looking at the speedometer at all right there. I was focusing on that driving. Turns out much harder to wrap a car around a tree than you would think. Like, it looks like it's going to be so violent, and then just, boop, a little bit of damage. And really, the all-wheel drive on this car is basically useless in terms of performance, unless you're like in a very, very slippery environment like the snow or something. There, you would get a little bit of advantage. Otherwise, there's really no need for you to ever use the all-wheel drive version of the 2400 because it doesn't have enough power where it makes a difference. Since I can't slide into a tree, we'll just drive into one. There you go, a little bit more serious front damage than we've seen before. Can it still drive? Not really, so we can go ahead and move on to the next one, which is the 3000i or 3000i. But I don't want to say 3000 because I'm calling the other ones 2400. I would have to say the 2400 and the 3000. It gets weird. Anyways, the 3000i, we'll get this one in the facelifted version and spawn that up. So, like I said earlier, the 24 meant it had a 2.4 liter engine. This one has a 3-liter engine. It has a different exhaust. It has a dual exhaust. And it's actually a pretty true dual exhaust. It's not just they stuck 2 tips on it. It actually goes with 2 tubes, which is pretty nice. And that means this one is a little bit faster with a little bit bigger engine. It has a sport front sway bar, so it handles a tiny bit better. It has a little bit better brakes, and then it has the letters on the back. And I'm comparing that to the 2400i, not the iX. So this is actually a rear-wheel drive car once again. The X basically means whether or not it's all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. If it has an X, all-wheel drive. If it doesn't, rear-wheel drive. Nice and simple. So we'll get this thing up to as fast as we can go before we crash. How's that? So I see a pretty good tree just sticking out right there. And oh, the bushes! The bushes, man. They just don't like me. Like, I was going to cut that corner really tight and really smash that tree at a high speed. And the bushes just like, no. Don't kill yourself. We're here to save your life. And then really all they do is ruin my fun. Like, bushes, what do you know? Stay out of my life. You don't know me. I don't love you. You're just a bush. Oh, we can fly right here. Hey, there's some roof damage. Should still be able to drive. Hard part's just getting back to some sort of road. I mean, there's a little bit of a road on the beach right here which you could drive on, which would be the perfect time to use a car with all-wheel drive instead of rear-wheel drive. So we'll go to the next car on the list, which actually does have all-wheel drive. That is the 3000iX, and we'll go with the facelifted one once again here. And I should mention the difference between the facelifted version and the not facelifted version is the facelift removes the trim on the front bumper, the side, and the rear. It changes the side of the light's color. So on the older version, this section of the light right here is yellowish orange. Now they're just white. And then it gives it different wheels and adds ABS to it if the car didn't have ABS before. Now this car is basically the same changes that we had between the 3000i and the 2400i, except it has the addition of all-wheel drive. So it's like you got the 2400iX and did the exact same changes I just mentioned a second ago. So I don't feel like repeating myself that closely. Anyways, all-wheel drive dirt road. This is what this car was made for. Getting up into the air a bit, actually. I mean, it really wasn't made to do that sort of airtime, but it took it like a champ. Not quite like a champ. It's definitely pulling hard to the left. I'm not steering at all when it's going to the left right there. That's all damage. Doesn't stop me from going up to a high speed and then bumping off of a bush and getting the smallest impact ever. Watch as I do just that. Yep. That was actually the car pulling it to the side, so I guess it did stop me just a tad. I lied. I said it couldn't stop me, but it can. Okay, now the car's really pulling to the left, so I don't want to drive this anymore. So we're going to swap it out for the next one in the list, which is actually going back to a smaller engine, which sounds kind of funny, but it's the TT Sport, which means it's turbocharged. Or maybe the TI means it's turbocharged. Either way, it has a turbo. And this car is most similar to the 2400i, but in reality, it's pretty significantly different than any of the cars we've seen up until this point, because this is the first one that's focusing more on performance versus just being a luxury car. And this one has a high-performance radiator, which reminds me that I've never shown you guys what the engine bay looks like on this car. Now, thankfully, the 3-liter engine and the 2.4-liter engine look identical pretty much, so we only need to look at one. And then this one, since it's turbocharged, it has all the extra stuff you would see on an engine that's turbocharged. The other ones, they don't have that. And then it has something cool on the inside as well. So on the inside, you have a different looking interior that doesn't have the awesome looking seats, unfortunately. But then you have this thing on the dash which shows you how much power you're getting. And it's not how hard you're hitting the throttle, it's how much power you're getting. So if you're in a high gear and you're flooring it, it looks like that because you're not getting any power because you're only at like 500 RPMs. But if you're on a lot of RPMs and you're flooring it, then it says you got all the power. I just thought that was a pretty neat thing to look at. I'm staring at that instead of where I'm going really, and I'm bound to crash. Otherwise though, the gauges look pretty much the same, so we'll turn those off. And the red is visible whether the lights are on or off, it doesn't matter. The steering wheel is also different, I forgot to mention that. You didn't really get that great of a look at the first one, so you probably didn't even notice. It's so similar that I forgot. And then you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely different, but I forgot to look at it. This one actually has something else that's kind of funny. Over on the front, it has little wipers on the lights. I think another one might have, a couple more have that as well. I just like them, they're so cute. Why is the light jiggling so hard? I guess when I tore off the hood, I did something a little bit wrong. But anyways, it has that. Going to the back, it has a dual exhaust like we've seen earlier. I got to downshift this thing. It has a fancy TT Sport logo on the back. And then it also has one on the front. And then this whole suspension's been reworked. So like the struts, sway bars, and brakes are all sportier. It has different wheels. It has a limited slip differential. And then it has that little spoiler on the trunk, which you can see as we drive. And I believe that about covers all of the changes that this one has. So lots of changes to it. And this is the first one that actually feels performance focused. The other ones, they just felt like cars. This one feels like a performance car. I mean, the sound of a turbo every time you shift definitely helps make a car feel like a performance vehicle. I guess you can hear it even when you're just accelerating too. You just hear a little bit of a whining noise from the turbo. Okay, these trees are pissing me off. Let's go ahead and go to a different map because I'm tired of just getting bumped by the trees and doing no damage to the car. I want somewhere that has walls, like Hirochi Raceway. This is a much more better fit anyways because all the cars we really have left are performance-focused ones. So before we were driving the 24 Ti TT Sport, we also have the 24 TIX TT Sport, and this one's pretty much the exact same thing, but with the addition of a front transfer case and some different letters on it that say TIX. And front transfer case just makes it all-wheel drive. So this one, since it's actually a bit more powerful than the ones before, it gives you a front transfer case more for being able to put the power down a little bit easier versus having a rear-wheel drive car. Or if you're trying to put the power down through that corner, it would definitely have enough power to make the back end slide out a little bit. With all-wheel drive though, it helps maintain the back end when you put the power down in the middle of a corner like that. I was on the course enough right there. But the nice thing is, if I want to just do a light hit, I just go like that, and then we keep on driving. I don't have to worry about those stinking bushes messing with me when I want to do my light hits. You just do the light hit and then you keep on going. You want to do a hard hit where you slide into something, do that as well. Can't stop me from crashing into things now. There ain't no more trees. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Trees in the middle of the race course would make it safer. in the game because the trees help dampen things. Well, I guess I should say bushes, not trees. The bushes dampen, the trees really don't. So we're going to go ahead and hit another thing up. Well, there goes my mirror. I'm not even going to really need to do much on this one. Just let it, yeah, there we go, upside down. That'll do it. Good job, car. Good job. So on to the next version, which is the Custom. And it's based on a 3000i, but it's been modified quite a bit to become the version you see before you. So it has the trim on the front bumper, but it's been painted to match the same color as the car, and it has the trim on the side as well. And the trim is just, hey, you have that little bump that sticks out right there. That's the trim. So it has it on the front, side, and rear, all painted to match the rest of the car. And then on the front, we also have a vented hood, which you can see the difference from right here. You can just peek inside there. I see you, engine. I see you. You can't hide from me. We have a license plate off to the side like that. We have a spoiler on the back right there. And then we also have an exhaust that fits really well in that hole right there. Then we also have these fender flares that look like they were riveted on, which is not a look I personally care for, but some people like that. Now, I said this was based on the 3000i, which means it has a 3-liter engine. And then it's been turbocharged. So if you want straight line speed, this is probably the car to go to. It does have wider tires than the normal 3000i, and it has a limited slip differential, which you don't normally get on that. Come on, corner. And it's still rear wheel drive, so you do have to be a little bit careful when you're going through those corners. And then it also has race coilovers, but it doesn't have all the race suspension parts you can get. So the sway bar and the brakes and stuff are more standard types. The logo's on the back. It's actually totally been removed, which I forgot to mention. And I am just barely keeping this thing from crashing because I'm trying to remember all that stuff, and I'm thinking about that instead of looking at my driving. So let's pay attention to the driving a bit and keep this thing on the road. We drifted even. Yeah, why not? Hey, what's wrong with drifting? I was going to try to wide that drift out the whole way, and I just thought I would spin out. And then right there, I just got caught on the corner of that edge. It's one of those things where you don't quite expect the car to spin out when you get caught like that, but it does, and recovering from that's actually really hard because the tire is just caught. Like if you're just on a flat surface like that, it's really easy to recover. But without all the race suspension parts, this car does a pretty good job of just sliding all over the place, as you see I'm doing right here. Alright, I think that's enough driving. That's like a whole lap, so right into the wall. And pretty good looking on the damage. This one does have the interior I like. It also has a racing steering wheel, as you see right there. You can look at the inside when it looks damaged. It all looks pretty reasonable there. So we'll go and back out twice because I hit it too many times. Reset it. And then the next one we're going to be taking a look at is the 2400 Ti TT Sport Evolution. And there's two of these. Basically, one is the TIX, so it has all-wheel drive. One is the TI, so it just has rear-wheel drive. And we're going to mostly use the rear-wheel drive one just because this car feels like it was made for rear-wheel drive, and then all-wheel drive was a late addition that's totally unnecessary. So we're going to compare this to the 2400 Ti TT Sport. And this has a lot of changes compared to that. So it has a different front bumper. It has different fenders on it that allow wider wheels, and these ones actually look like they're built into the car, not just tacked on like the other ones. And then you notice on the side right here we have a different side skirt, and the trim is not there, so you know this is based on the facelifted version of the car. And then on the back we once again have bigger fenders, different back bumper, and then we have the wing, and then we have that square-ish exhaust as well. And this car not only looks visually different, it's actually a lot faster. So this has the same engine, but it has the Stage 2 turbocharger. And then it has all the race suspension parts that you could get. So it has like racing brakes, race coilovers, race sway bars, all that kind of stuff. So it might not be as fast in a straight line as the Custom, but it feels a lot more balanced, and it feels like it's a more capable car on something like a track. Now the visual changes to the car, we'll call it Brigsby parts, if that means anything to you. It's good to know if you're looking through the list maybe. Oh, Brigsby, that's the part I'm looking for. It also has a 6-speed transmission on it that's made for racing, so the gearing's a little bit different. It has a limited slip differential that's made for racing, so the way it slides is just a little bit different than the other one. And then it also has the addition of a strap bar to it. And that's about it. So we'll try to do a lap with this. If I can, try to pull that off. I didn't plan to wreck it right there, but it just, I overestimated its steering capability. So how about we go in the opposite direction here? You disappointed me, car. I thought you would handle way better. I mean, it's a good handling car. I just thought I'd be able to make that corner at that speed just barely. And it almost did, but it didn't. And if it doesn't, then you crash. Now right here, I kind of wish I had the mini map, because I'm trying to remember, like, do I need to go on the outside of this corner or the inside to get to where I want to go? And I just cannot remember, so I end up being really dumb and being halfway in the dirt because I'm like, it's the safest bet maybe, and then it's really not. Like right there you go. There's actually using the car's capabilities. You just have to focus a little bit. So we'll go through this little hidden area a bit, and then we'll be done. The abandoned racetrack. I think that's what they called it in the game at one point in time. Imagine actually racing through here with multiple cars. That'd be sketchy, trying to pass people with these trees on both sides. You crash, and you're crashing into a tree, which is not a soft landing. And this doesn't have the bushes that'll make you get a soft landing. It's just trees. I'm going nice and slow though, because I've already crashed this once. I don't want to crash it twice. We're coming out right about here, so now we'll floor it. Try to crash it, straighten out a bit. Come on, straighten out. There we go. Should be going about 100 miles per hour when we get to that wall. I like those side impacts like that. Can you tell? Damage looks pretty reasonable. I have no idea where my wing went. It just, well, it went for a flight. I mean, wings fly, I guess, right? Yeah, totally. Anyways, we're going to swap this out for the next one in the list, which is the race version. And we're going to be comparing the race one to the one we were just driving. So this one has the Basso livery on it, which is very, very, very similar to the real racing livery you would see on the Mercedes-Benz 190E Evolution race car. So we're just going to get it over to here. So on the front right there, we have these covered headlights. So if you try to turn on the headlights, they do absolutely nothing because there aren't actually headlights there. On the back, license plate is gone. And then it has the addition of a roll cage. Seats have been removed. It has full race brakes, where the other one just had partial race brakes. This one has full ones. And then it has racing slicks on it. And then it also removed my favorite bit, the racing wipers on the lights. I call them racing just because, but they're not really made for racing. That's why they're removed. And what's the good of having wipers on lights that don't even work, right? There isn't a good. There isn't a need. So this one handles very similar to the one we were just driving, but the extra grippy tires make it even easier to handle. And once again, this feels very, very balanced. Like, it feels like it was a thought-out car. It's not like the race or the custom one. I keep calling the custom one the race. It's not like the custom one, where it's just a little bit more power than the suspension is made for. This one feels like it has the right amount of power for the right amount of grip that the car has. So let's go ahead and crash this. See the power of the roll cage doing anything. Trying to hit the roof, and I think I did just a bit. But the roll cage is strong, and it don't let that roof get damaged. So the next one we have is the rally one, and if we want to do rallying, we should go to a course that has a dirt road, like Small Island, USA. And the rally one is very similar to the race one, but it's been modified to be more suitable for rallying versus racing. So it has 2 seats again instead of just the one that the race one has. It has the ugly fender flares for some reason. Don't know why they're back, but they are. And then it has a suspension made for rallying versus the other one, which was made for more flatter surfaces. You got headlights back, and then it also has the wipers on the headlights, so you can clear your headlights if you get it all dirty from rallying. And then it's all-wheel drive. And this one, it makes a lot of sense to have all-wheel drive because it's a rally car. Rally cars get a lot of advantage from having all-wheel drive if you're a bad driver like me. And we already rolled it somehow. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the game's glitching out, so let's just upright this car and keep going in the opposite direction. That's why it flipped over. I didn't want to go in that way. We wanted to go this direction. The car's telling me, no, go this way. I'm like, okay, car, we'll go this way. I don't know this path at all, though, car. This is all your fault that I'm off the course and stuff. You're a rally car. You got to be used to going off the course, though, right? Then into the water! And then it is dead. And that covers all of the different versions of the car. Now we'll go ahead and just finish up this video by doing some more crash testing like stuff at grid map. And then we'll also do brutal slope and leap of death, I guess, as well. I want to crash into the car with the roll cage and into the car without the roll cage. So we're going to need to spawn up quite a few cars for this. We're going to get one race version. Then we're going to get a rally version. And then we're going to get a evolution, which can be this one. Wrong car, wrong car, wrong car. Okay, evolution, and it doesn't matter if it's a TI or TIX. So we'll just move it forward a bit and park it right there. Parking brake engage. Do the same thing with the rally. Parking brake engage. Then we're going to take the race one, we're going to drive it back, and then we're going to drive into both of those cars at the same speed and see if the difference between the cars is as much as you would expect, because you expect the roll cage to help with that kind of impact. Even though it's made for rolling, it does help the structural strength of a car for something like that. So I think from over here we'll probably be able to go about 100 miles per hour, and we're going to just hit both of the cars at that speed. We're flooring it the whole way. That's the speed control. So get some slow-mo going, a little early, speed up, and then slow-mo engage 100 times. Speed up a bit, 8 times slow-mo. Impact is over. I'll let the car slide a bit, and then we'll go to the next one, hit them, and then we'll look at both of the damages at the same time. So this one is the one without the roll cage, which is honestly the one you probably should be more interested in, because that's more of what the normal car would look like, and the normal cars usually don't race one. So 16 times slow-mo right there, impact there, and slam on these brakes. Can we separate these cars? Not easily, so we'll just reset that. We've seen a few front impacts already. So side impact, caught on fire, pretty good amount bashed in on that side. One with the roll cage, also bashed in a lot, but you notice the roll cage is sticking out past the body panels that have been bashed in. Overall damage is similar, but it might be... Okay, yeah, there's definitely more on the other one, though. If you look kind of at the roof and such, like the roof right there is bent in a lot more. But this one, the roof held up some, and that's really, there's the roll cage for you. Roof strength, roll cage, boom. And I think we'll go ahead and crash a couple more. And I'm thinking, since I can, it'd be fun if I just kept spawning up more of them to crash into. So we'll get like this one, spawn it up, and we'll get another one, spawn that up, and we're just gonna bash into both of them at the same time. We'll do it like this. We'll make a little tiny crevice that we're gonna have to try to hit in between. This is so dumb. It's just gonna make a big old mess of cars, but it'll be fun. So the goal is to get right in between them. Parking brakes are on. Can the black one drive at all? Yes, it can. Awesome. Gonna put it right there, and this is gonna be just a mess. Should be fun though. We definitely want to do 100 times slow-mo on this, because there's gonna be a ton of stuff going on right here. It's like the one crash to really finish the video on, but then we also gotta do brutal slope and leap at death, so it doesn't quite work out that way. 16 times slow-mo, 100 times slow-mo. I want to make sure I get a beautiful camera angle on this one. So how about something like that, where I can clearly see all the cars. Can't exactly see the impact, though. I probably would want to see the impact a little more. So how about we go more like that? There we go. Squishing it through. Good. We'll speed it up a little bit to 65. Freeze physics. Get a bit of a different camera angle there. Okay. And all the cars are moving all over the place. That's a cool crash. Just having a bunch of cars and ramming through them like that. I like that. Now, I would end the video there if I could, because that's such a good crash. You can't top that. But I promised I was, so let's go ahead and go to brutal slope and then leap at death. Well, actually, leap at death first, then brutal slope. I changed my mind. For this, how about we use the evolution version? Because I want something fast, but I don't want something with a roll cage. For color, how about we go with orange, the same as the rally one. Just so it's easier to find the parts when they fly in every which direction. Hitting that jump at about 70 miles per hour. That's pretty good speed. Flying pretty level. Gonna go a good distance, about average, maybe clearing where we normally crash. So this first one will be full speed. So we did clear that road where we normally crash by just a tiny bit. And then car is wrecked. Nothing else now but to wait. It's gonna be a 3-hitter maybe if it bounces right. It didn't bounce right. It bounced violently, so it's gonna be a lot of hits now, just going very slowly here. A little bit of fire in the mix. Will it actually get into the water? It looks like it has a hole, but it's gonna get stuck maybe. And no good. Okay. So we'll do this one more time. This time we'll have slow-mo. We'll also hit the jump at an angle so we can have a little bit more of a fun crash. Not going to go as far, though. I don't think we're going to clear it like we did last time, but we will hit on our roof, which should be pretty interesting. So we'll go with 16 and 100 times slow-mo. Very, very loud crash. And full speed ahead. Really not much to even look at here. It's already been so beat up. Every other one is meaningless. It's so thin. It looks funny when it's like that. Like it looks like it was almost chopped in half. And then sometimes when it's flipping, you can see now the whole car's there. It's just half of it's been crushed in really hard. So a little bit of a glitching out on either the wheels or suspension, it looks like. It's hard to tell while it's flipping and spinning so hard. This one will also not get into the water, though, because it's going to fall into the same crack. Maybe it'll have a little bit more momentum. No. Wait. Oh, sneaky. Oh, double sneaky, because it actually didn't go in the water after all. All right, on to Brutal Slope. And for this, we're actually going to just keep using that exact same car, because that's really the best car for doing this kind of stuff with. And this time, how about we keep it in black? Why not? Should be backed up enough. Go slow and fast in this one. Just because I had so much fun seeing it get squished from the sides earlier, we're going to squish it from the sides here too. Gotta drive a bit of an angle, but I should be able to line this up properly. Bump, 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 bump. You hear it in the suspension. So what I wanted to do is just kind of get it into here. That is pretty good alignment. And we're just going to whoop, right through there. Oh, my car is so tall and skinny. That's what happens when you put your car on a diet. Let that be a warning. Don't put your car on a diet. It'll catch on fire. You want to burn calories? Well, just literally burn them. Catch yourself on fire and the calories will burn right away. Worst diet plan ever. Did it stop people from trying it? No. People will try any fad diet, even if it involves no food at all, and literally burning yourself on fire. Oh, it's kind of weird watching the boost when you're way past red line. It bogged down and then it came back. Slow-mo engaging now. Ta-da! My engine is in my trunk. I am now a rear engine vehicle. If only I could put the power down, but I can't. On to the convertibilizer. This would be an interesting car for a convertible, actually, for like an actual mod. Seems like every stock car eventually gets a convertible mod and then a sedan mod or a coupe mod, depending on which one it is. Kind of funny. And there was actually a sedan mod for this car like the day after it came out somehow. I'm like, this dude will work crazy fast, you know? Alright, so this one, we're going to do a full speed convertibilizer. Actually, half speed convertibilizer. Boom! Yeah! That's my convertible. Should still be able to drive. Let's see here. How well can it drive? Rear tires are broken. Can still drive somewhat straight, though, aside from those tires, it seems like. Anyways, that'll do it for the ETK I Series. Till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.